Poesía, arte y mates que funcionan en una sincronicidad mágica. Es el juego perfecto. Tetris. No lo pillo.
Hi, I'm Jesus Agudo from Cartelera, Spain, and it's really nice to meet you. And
likewise. Hi, Jesus. How are you?
Great, and I gotta say congratulations on the movie. It's amazing.
Good. Thanks, man. That's brilliant.
I wanted to tell you that Matthew Bong and you have made some of my favorite movies of the past few years.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm a huge fan of Eddie the Eagle and Rocketman. So I wanted to ask you first, since you have made this kind of collection with him of true stories and making them larger than life for movies. You have both of you any process to choose which stories you want to make?
Well, it's interesting, but I love what you say. They are true stories, but they are larger than life, and that's very much Matthew's taste, and I really like it too. There's something very fun about trying to honor a true story, but also make it colorful. I think that's fine and good. That's part of being creative, but he picks the stories, he's drawn to what he's drawn to. And then quite often, not always, but quite often he comes to me and says, hey, do you want to do this with me? And I normally say, yeah, because he's great and he picks good stories. So you'd have to ask him. But one thing I do know is he's definitely drawn to the 80s. He likes that period. I think probably because that he feels like, I don't know. Weirdly, I feel like my time was like the late noughties, which was weird because I was still a teenager, but that feels like that was my time. And I guess he maybe feels like the 80s were his time. And I suspect it's probably the moment where you become an adult, and you do all the things like, I don't know, all the firsts, and I suspect that that's when you feel like that's your time. Don't know, but yeah, he's drawn to the 80s.
Since you had the opportunity to meet some of the people you have portrayed, if you prefer to get to know them and spend time with them, or if you have more an approach of making distance so you can build your own version of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It really depends, So, like, of the people that I've played who are real, there's only one who I have a real relationship with, and that's Elton. We have a friendship. The other guys, I don't really know that well, and it's not that I don't want to know. It's just it doesn't work out that way. When you make a movie, you have such an intense relationship with the people involved, and then you move on. That's the nature of the job that I do. And it's not just the people I depict. There's people who I was very, very close with whilst making Kingsman, like crew at the time. And then you leave each other's lives and you don't see each other so much anymore. And sometimes those relationships go away. And that's just the nature of things. But I don't try and create distance I don't actively try and create distance between me and the people I'm depicting. But I do think you kind of need space to do your thing. I always find it very hard when they come on set, because they often want to come on set for a day, and it's hard when that happens. It's hard to do your thing. The only person who didn't, funnily enough, was Elton, because I think he's such a creative. I think he sort of knows that it would be. He sort of knew that it would be not that helpful, but equally they have every right to, because we're telling their story. So yeah.
I also love how Hank Rogers, his enthusiasm and going all the way for things he believed. In your case, did you have a particular moment where you had to fight for anything despite the bonkers obstacles in your way, like him?
Well, I think any actor who gets gets asked that question probably immediately thinks back to a role of significance from their youth. And I think when I was young, I'm still very younger, like auditioning for Eggsy springs to mind as being a process where I just thought, I've got to get this role. And equally auditioning for drama school as well, because that felt like a real moment in my career. They're both things that required a lot of preparation and a lot of thought and a lot of grit. So yeah, probably those things really are the nearest thing I could compare it to.
Oh, that's great. So thank you for this wonderful interview. And as a fan of young adult novels, I can't wait to see what you do with Happy Head, and I can't wait to read it.
Thank you.
Really interested.
Thank you, Jesus. It's a very special book. I'm very excited by it. It's really great talking with you, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Have a nice day.
You too, man. Bye.
Todo el mundo miente.
¡Váyase a casa!
La caballería está de camino.
No tenemos tiempo.
Tengo un plan. No, venga ya. Son ustedes los reyes del suspense.